The story of Saint Luke the Evangelist. Saint Luke the Evangelist, one of the most beloved figures in early Christianity, is traditionally credited with writing both the Gospel of Luke and the Acts of the Apostles. Through these two works, he provided a detailed account of the life of Jesus Christ and the early church. Luke's contributions have shaped Christian understanding of Jesus' life, ministry, and the early spread of the gospel, making him a key figure in the New Testament. Little is known about Luke's early life. According to tradition, he was born in Antioch, a city in ancient Syria, which was a major cultural and intellectual center at the time. Luke is believed to have been a Gentile, non-Jewish, convert to Christianity, which sets him apart from most other New Testament writers who were of Jewish origin. He was highly educated and was likely trained as a physician, as indicated in Colossians 4 verse 14, where the Apostle Paul refers to him as the beloved physician. His profession as a doctor suggests that Luke was a compassionate man, dedicated to helping others both physically and spiritually. Luke likely converted to Christianity during the early days of the church, possibly after hearing the apostles preach. He soon became a close companion and traveling partner of St. Paul, one of the most influential figures in early Christianity. In fact, much of what we know about Paul's missionary journeys comes from the Acts of the Apostles, which Luke authored. Luke joined Paul on several of his missionary journeys and was present with him during times of imprisonment, offering support and companionship. In the book of Acts, Luke often uses the pronoun we, indicating that he was an eyewitness to many of the events he describes, including Paul's missionary work, travels, and eventual imprisonment in Rome. His close association with Paul suggests that Luke was deeply involved in spreading the gospel and in the early growth of Christian communities. The Gospel of Luke, which is the third book of the New Testament, is a comprehensive and beautifully written account of Jesus' life, teachings, death, and resurrection. Luke's gospel is unique in its detailed focus on the compassion of Jesus, his care for the marginalized, and his love for all people, including sinners, the poor, and the outcasts of society. One of the key themes in Luke's gospel is the universality of Christ's message. He highlights Jesus' care for Gentiles, women, and social outsiders, emphasizing that the gospel is meant for all people, regardless of their background or status. Luke also includes stories not found in the other gospels, such as the parable of the prodigal son and the parable of the Good Samaritan, which reflect this inclusive vision of God's love. Luke's gospel is also known for its attention to detail and its historical context. Luke carefully explains the political and social setting of the events in Jesus' life, giving readers a clear picture of the time in which Jesus lived. This precision reflects Luke's desire to write a thorough and accurate account for his audience, particularly for Theophilus, to whom both the Gospel and the Book of Acts are addressed. The Acts of the Apostles, written by Luke as a continuation of his Gospel, chronicles the spread of Christianity after Jesus' ascension into heaven. It begins with the outpouring of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost and follows the apostles, especially Peter and Paul, as they preach, perform miracles, and establish Christian communities across the Roman Empire. In Acts, Luke highlights the work of the Holy Spirit in guiding and empowering the early church. He shows how the gospel moved beyond its Jewish roots and spread to Gentiles, fulfilling Jesus' command to make disciples of all nations, Matthew 28 verse 19. Luke's account of the early church serves as an inspiring record of faith, perseverance, and the transformative power of the gospel. Through his careful documentation, Luke gives us insight into the challenges and triumphs faced by the early Christians, including persecution, martyrdom, and the expansion of the Christian faith across cultural and geographic boundaries. His writing is characterized by its emphasis on prayer, the Holy Spirit, and the importance of Christian unity. Tradition holds that Luke lived to an old age and died peacefully, though some accounts suggest he may have been martyred. His feast day is celebrated on October 18th. Saint Luke is the patron saint of artists, physicians, and surgeons, reflecting his dual role as a healer and a storyteller. In Christian art, Luke is often depicted with an ox, a symbol of sacrifice, which corresponds to the sacrificial nature of Christ's life and death, one of the central themes in his gospel. Saint Luke's contribution to Christianity is immense. Through his gospel and the Acts of the Apostles, he provides us with a vivid and compassionate account of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, as well as the birth and growth of the early church. His emphasis on God's mercy, the dignity of every human person, and the universality of the gospel message continues to inspire Christians to this day. Saint Luke's legacy as both a physician of the body and a healer of souls endures, making him a powerful intercessor for all who seek to grow closer to Christ through the gospel and through the service of others.